Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Young Guns podcast. We got a couple people in the chat here: Joseph Balby, Logan's Gaming Lounge, Joel Yotto, Jaden Dawkins, and Chance Foster. Welcome in, guys. Welcome into the Young Guns podcast, episode 30 of the Young Guns podcast. It feels so weird. 30 episodes already. Doesn't even feel real, but I'm here with my co-host, the Hub, aka Kush. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see King Sean turning in as well, the Washington football team fan that always tunes into our stream, man.
Right.
Appreciate it. How's everybody doing? Me and KB were talking about a little bit about it before the stream started. Of course, the big news of the day.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it. Okay.
No, I was gonna let you say it. I was gonna segue to let you say
it. Well, I'll just piggyback right off of that and say, yeah, we got some injury updates for you guys as far as Daniel Jones goes. It came out. I believe Jones broke the news before anybody himself that he kind of rolled his ankle a little bit, low ankle sprain, and in my honest opinion, Hub, I don't know if I'm reading into this too much, but I don't think he's affected too much of the ankle sprain as he still is about the hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the ankle sprain is a huge factor, but I definitely think it adds on to his already injured leg. So I don't think that's a good sign. But I think there has been worse situations. I in my honest opinion, I think there's been worse.
Yeah, I'm agree with you there. I definitely think that out of the two things, the one that I'm worried about more is going to be the hamstring. I mean, an ankle sprain, that's like something that regular people could get and recover from. And obviously, professional football players are not regular people. So I got no problem in believing that DJ could come back from the ankle sprain very nicely. The question is, how long is it going to be out? But then you compound that with the hamstring, and you're just like, damn, he might be out for the rest of the season. But there's like, it's crazy. And I don't know if this is Judge playing to the media, which we're going to get into later because we also talked about that backstage. But he's saying that he's doubtful, that Jones is doubtful for Sunday, which implies that there's a chance he could play. And then my reaction to that is just like, no, he should not be playing on Sunday. Like, what is wrong with you? It should not be doubtful. It should be out. Like, right now, it should be out. And if somehow, some way he's back for the Ravens or back by week 17, which I really do think Jones might be out for the season, which I'm like, hey, man, if he's out for the season, let the man be out for the season and recover. But if somehow, some way he's back for the Ravens, I'll be surprised because I'm really worried about that hamstring, man. You talk about re-injuring that. I thought for sure that would have been the end of his season, man.
Yeah, and I definitely and I know we all want to make the playoffs, but I don't want the Giants to try to force Jones to play. And say with Jones in the lineup, even if he's all banged up and he tries his best and somehow we make it to the playoffs, and then he gets like knocked out of the playoffs and Colt McCoy is starting, what was really the benefit to this season? You know, what was really the benefit to us making the playoffs at that point? I really want it, the one person
I would disagree with you there because the benefit that we've been arguing all year still happens for all the other 51 guys on the roster of getting that playoff experience.
I agree, but in my honest opinion, how I'm looking at the season, most of this season is really about Daniel Jones. And I know the whole team needs to gel, but the guy I'm looking at the most and the guy that's been criticized the most and really critiqued the most is Daniel Jones. And I feel like it'll be like you're leaving something behind when you're getting into the playoffs and you're without Daniel Jones. I just feel like the whole team won't be complete and the experience won't be there for everybody. Maybe the whole team will experience that, but it'll suck not to see Daniel Jones in there because he'll be knocked out of there.
I agree with you on some points, right? So, of course, you're completely right. The playoff experience will be there not for the whole team. You're completely right on the fact that DJ needs it as well, and he's been the most criticized person all year. The thing is, though, he would have been the most criticized person all year, even if we had a more successful season. And also, I'm just gonna go back to it's a team first thing. Daniel Jones is important 100%. He's the quarterback. He is the most important person on that team. But it's team first mentality anyway. I think you're still going out there and you should still try to get into playoffs and get that playoff experience for the whole team. Because guess what? Who's improved the most this year? The defense. You don't think with some playoff experience they could get even better rolling into next year? The offensive line, it's a close second for most improved unit. I know they had a bad game against the Cardinals, but when I go back and I think about that game more and more, I'm like, you know what? A lot of those 9 sacks were covered sacks just because like the Cardinals secondary did a great job of covering up our wide receivers. And the time that they gave Daniel in the pocket, I think was like a high average time in the pocket on Sunday. So I'm like, the offensive line is still one of the most improved units, and they would obviously get better with experience in the playoffs. Like, those are the two things I'm looking at.
Yeah, I completely agree. King Sean said, KB, I saw your video on how Giants fans are saying they should get rid of Daniel Jones, and Giants fans also said the season is over. Yeah, he said, okay, so I guess he was kind of following that a question for you. I mean, how do you feel about the Giants fans, kind of, some of them, of course, flip-flopping throughout the season on what they think about the Giants, and going from the season is over, and now they want to say they want to get rid of Daniel Jones and Dave Gettleman again. I can't believe those talks are still happening.
I mean, bro, you really got to ask me. Like, you already know how I feel. We share the same opinion on this topic, bro.
Of course, yeah.
Same thing, man. Listen, I said it coming into the season, and it's an argument that I can't use anymore because guess what? We're coming to the end of this year. But coming into the season, I'm like, the dude's in his second year, and you still want him, guy. You're not even giving him a chance. Guess what? Second year finished. Okay. He had a bad year. I ain't making excuses. When I called the game on Sunday, shout out to OGR. I love that man. He actually got on me a little bit because he thought I was being hard on DJ. So that just goes to show y'all, I'm very objective. I try to be very objective when it comes to Daniel Jones because he's my quarterback right now. I'm not sure if he's my franchise quarterback, but guess what? Right now, he is my quarterback. Like, for example, on Sunday, I blamed all 3 fumbles on DJ, including the first one that a lot of people blame, Cam Fleming on. Right? I personally blame that on DJ as well.
Right.
Go ahead and say a little spiel, and then I'm gonna get back into
I was just gonna agree with you. I just can't believe how people honestly think that Jones was in no fault of that first fumble. I mean, I just can't see. Listen. Me and Kush have been Daniel Jones apologists, Dave Gettleman apologists, right? That's what we've been labeled as. You can't defend that Daniel Jones fumble because a quarterback that has just the slightest bit of awareness would know that pressure is coming and not trying to throw the ball.
On stream, right? I was talking to OGR, and OGR, I think he said, it was coming on. I think he said, like, when you always getting pressured on your blind side, you're not gonna see it all the time, right?
Right.
And then I just said one thing. I'm like, OGR, that was coming from his right side. That wasn't his blind side.
The right side.
Like, that was off the right side, right? So it's like, that's why I'm not even gonna get into it. Maybe I'm gonna explain a little. The reason I blamed it on him is because, one, it was on the right, like, it was in his face. I'm like, come on, man, a little bit of pocket presence. But also, people said he was in the throwing motion. In my opinion, when I look back at it, that ball was pretty close to his chest. In my opinion, I could be wrong. All right, I don't have.
He was still cocking back.
Yeah, like, I don't have the all 22 film, but I'm like, just get a better grip on it, man. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, that's not the point. My point I was trying to make is I could be objective on Daniel. He's had a bad year. All right, he's had a bad year. His turnovers have gotten worse outside of the fumble department. He's actually improved, and I think this past game was just, purely. I really think it's a lot of other factors that made him, go back to turnover Danny. But I think he's fixed his fumbles, and he looked like he's on the path to fixing his interceptions. Regardless, over the course of the year, he's had a bad year. But also, I do realize, and this is where I'm going to get back into what people call the apologist mode, that he's had little to no help on the offensive side of the football, especially from his offensive coordinator and Jason Garrett. And I saw Joey had to put it in the chat earlier. He is the Giants are top 10 in the league when it comes to drop passes. He's not getting help from his weapons either. So I do recognize that, which is why I'm like, give the man his main dude in Saquon back. Give the team a chance to get a legit wide receiver out there, like a legit number 1 out there, and then send him back out with an improved offensive line from week 1, not from week 8, and then we'll see what happens. That's kind of my stance on DJ. It's always been my stance on DJ. We'll see what happens when he gets some legit things around him. He was supposed to have a legit O-line from week 1, but Rona happened, and so that delayed everything. He was supposed to have Saquon going for an MVP season, but then his ACL got torn. Guess what? It's setting up an even better MVP season storyline next year. He was supposed to have all these things, just did not happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and just a lot of things went wrong for Daniel Jones, and you hit it right on the head. Talking about what happened with COVID, right? Less practice.
Real quick, I do want to say, Logan, I did talk about his pocket presence. He said, "What about the pocket?" I spent like a whole good 5 minutes talking about his pocket presence.
Yeah, his pocket presence is not very good. He definitely needs to improve on that. And yeah, speaking on Daniel Jones's interceptions, I mean, he's definitely lowered down the interceptions, right? 0 interceptions in 4 games he's played. I guess that's 3.5 games he's played, right, before starts. 0 interceptions, so he's on a 4-game streak with that one, but also a 4-game streak of no touchdown passes, which sucks. So he's been 8-9 throughout most of
he's quarter of the season like that.
Yeah, it's probably gonna finish the season like that, and that stat just does not look good.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say he finished the season, besides the Arizona game that sucked, but he finished the season on a high note. You look at that Cincinnati game, that was shaping up to be his best game of the season. I mean, even though he didn't throw any touchdown passes, he was already like over 200 yards, and it was like the beginning of the third quarter. He could have had his 300-yard game.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to my video I made on things I need to see,
I
things I
saw I
need to
see it.
see.
I see what you see.
Yeah, things I need to see on Daniel Jones before the season ends, and I'm probably not going to see any of that. So the jury's still out on
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones.
And Kyle Cruz, that's another thing. That's another one of the things that I heavily criticize Daniel on. Every time now, his progressions.
Yeah.
Ever since I started noticing it back in like week 3 or 4, and I started really paying attention and started being really critical of him, I'm like, yeah, he does not go through his progressions a lot. But going back to what KB is saying, the past 4 weeks, finishing the season on a high note, he has been going through his progressions. In fact, in Arizona, one of the times that he got sacked, he went through his progression like 2 times and nobody was open. Going back to a lot of those sacks being covered sacks, the offensive line, it's hard for me to say this because once you give up 9 sacks, there's no way I could say, oh, yeah, the offensive line had a good game. But they didn't have a terrible game. It's like, as the stats show, because they protected him for a while, allowed him to go through his progressions twice. Nobody was open, and that's why he got sacked.
The huge issue there is that, the offensive line looked terrible there as far as statistics go, right? Hassan Reddick with the 5 sacks. They didn't play great, and nobody's like apologizing for them or making excuses for that offensive line. They didn't play well. But you can't ignore the fact that Daniel Jones was not the same. He was not able to move in the pocket. I feel like people are undermining that in a huge way, saying, well, Daniel Jones was out there. He should have went out there and balled out, have that, baller mentality, that dog mentality, that tough guy mentality like Eli did. But the fact is, the bottom line is Daniel Jones was hurt. Whether whoever made the call, however selfish Daniel Jones was, or maybe he didn't realize he was hurt, the bottom line is Daniel Jones was hurt. You can put that on anybody, put the blame on anybody. It doesn't matter. Daniel Jones was hurt. It's not an excuse. It's a reason. There's a big difference between the two. Okay, it's a reason. And Jones obviously did not look
could
the same.
see it in the play. Like, come on, man. When I played football, I didn't play quarterback. But even if you've never played football in your life, if you just know basic human anatomy, you use a lot of your legs when you're throwing balls, all right? Like, you're using a lot of power from your legs, just like you use your legs with basically every single activity that a human does.
That's at your feet.
That man's, one of his leg was basically not fully functional, so he could not fully throw the ball properly. And then, of course, in plays, going back to that one where nobody was open, he can't make a play, and he just kind of has to sit there and take the sack, unfortunately, because he can't run out and then risk pulling it again by running it. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lose-lose situation because then he gets the sack, and then that's another risk. But what are you going to do?
King Sean says his hamstring is fine. I mean, this coming from a Washington football fan, so I don't know where your sources are, my friend. Just to be honest, I don't know.
Judge is saying DJ's hamstring is fine. If you look at his previous comment.
Okay. He said Judge. Okay, so we'll see what happens with the hamstring. Now, I'd be more worried about the hamstring than the rolled ankle. So if his hamstring was okay and he's dealing with the rolled ankle, I'd be okay with that. If he plays, but we'll see what happens. One thing, before we get into that, the stat Walton says, KB, where's your Wayne Train tee? It's coming next week.
Teespring fooled them.
Teespring fooled me, man. I paid for I think it's because it's Christmas time, maybe. I don't know. But I paid for faster shipping. And it was supposed to be here on this podcast, but it's going to be available next podcast. So it'll be on the Hubs channel when I'll showcase the Wayne Train tee, which is very fitting. It's his t-shirt design. So and a point I was going to bring on, I tweeted this right before the show. I'm not the biggest fan of Daniel Jones playing hurt. I think everybody understands that and knows that from my point of view. I'm not the biggest fan of Daniel Jones playing hurt, but I think this may be somewhat of a blessing in disguise. Why do I say that? I think Daniel Jones being forced to stay in the pocket and actually be forced to make a throw, I think can help him. Now, it all depends on if those damn wide receivers can get open, right? But it will force him to say, hey, I need to focus, go through all of my progressions. This may get him to actually go through all his progressions and play from the pocket and say, hey, I can't use my legs. They're not an option right now. I have to make a play from I gotta throw the ball. I gotta make a play with the football from inside the pocket. And I just want to hear your thoughts on that, Hub.
Well, the thing is, I think he's already been doing that. Like I said, he's been on the 4-game streak of him being, better with the turnovers and then slowly getting better in terms of yardage on the passing side. Yeah, of course, the next big step would have been, all right, get those touchdowns back up there. I think he's been doing that. I think he's already been, going through his progressions a lot better than he usually does. And uh, the second part I do definitely agree with. He's definitely gonna rely on his legs a bit less because a hamstring injury is generally it's a weapon injury. It's something that a wide receiver, running back gets because you run a lot.
Hmm.
You only ever see hamstring injuries on those guys or athletic quarterbacks. With DJ is a very athletic quarterback, so I think that Jason Garrett also needs to take that into account, which is surprising because I thought once again in that 4 game stretch he didn't actually use his legs that much. You know what I'm saying? You think about it, he did not use his legs that much in the latter half of the 4 game stretch, which was obviously when he got injured. He used his legs more in the Eagles game, where the 70-yard one in the second Eagles game, the 40-yard one, he didn't use it that much against his like You know what? That brings up a good question. I don't know if he should adjust it. Maybe he'll do it in the future because it's already going to be a hamstring that's not normal anymore. It's going to be
Hmm.
recovering from an injury. But it's not like he got injured on a run. He got injured because he was getting sacked like that.
Right.
That's why.
Right.
Like he was just getting pummeled. So I actually don't know anymore. That's a good question though.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how Daniel Jones would play if he's just forced to make a play from within the pocket. And as far as the Seattle games, the Seattle game, the Arizona game went last week, it makes you think, man, how attentive are they going to be to Daniel Jones' injury and the fact that he can't run the ball and he is at a limited type of ability passing the ball because the wide receivers can't get open. Why didn't we run the ball more last week? Because Daniel Jones was not 100%. I just
It
don't
made
get
no
it.
sense.
I
Listen, we
don't
could
get
get
it.
into a whole Jason Garrett or debate right now because
Yeah.
a lot of people, and I think they have a good reason to defend Jason Garrett. So I'm gonna lay out the counter arguments first. The
Okay.
biggest one, of course, being the Rona, which has affected everybody. All right,
Right.
we
Right.
can't. I always say I think people do a disservice by underrating how important a full football offseason is. A full football offseason starts in May, right? It starts in May and it ends in like September.
Hmm.
That's a lot of time missed, man. I said it last year when, what's still this year, what I'm talking about. I said it earlier in the year when it was basically, when we were first thinking. Remember, there was a point in the year when we all thought there wasn't even going to be an NFL season. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like, okay, there's going to be no
Right.
offseason. I'm like, everybody thought, that, okay, they're going to make a way to adjust. A good amount of people said, no, those months are used to loosen up your body and get your body back into football shape. And that's what they missed. And that's what the coaches missed too. Now, I will say that it doesn't take 14 or 15 weeks for Jason Garrett to install and figure out an offense. And I've had a problem with Jason Garrett since week 4. His offense is just not good at all, right? And I don't know what it is. You could definitely point out the passing game. 100% his passing game is the worst, offender of them all. And then when it comes
Right.
to the running game wasn't that good until the offensive line got a bit better, which of course is understandable. But you talk about his play calling decisions, and it's just like he has so many examples of terrible play calling decisions, which remind me of some of Pat Shermer's terrible play calling decisions. Two completely different offenses, but they got the common ground in the worst part, possible.
Hmm.
And it's just like Jason Garrett he gonna need to do something next year because I do think he's gonna be here next year. I don't think they're gonna fire him after
Right.
such a crazy season we had. But if he is here next year, he's gonna need to do something way better than what we saw on the field this year.
Yeah, man. It's such a like anchor, but in the bad way. People kind of like use anchor as a positive, but it's such an anchor. It's holding us back. Jason Garrett and this play calling has been holding us back this season. I feel like we do have. Listen. Our offense is not great, right? And I don't think the personnel is that great either. My issue is they are a lot better than we make them look. They look way worse than they are. And, that doesn't mean that they're world beaters. They're not great, but they are certainly better than the points and yards they put up all the time. Jason Garrett's been a huge problem. And I made the video last year, in this offseason saying Jason Garrett would be the best addition to this team in 2020. Boy, was that wrong. He may have been the worst addition in 2020. It's been a huge problem having Jason Garrett in. I thought that somehow it would be sort of like the Dallas Cowboys offense where they ran the ball, then hit you with the bootleg. It just doesn't seem like that for with this offense. We've got some cute plays with Evan Ingram all the time, and we got the reverses and the sweeps and things like that, and the very vanilla route combinations that don't even cross between with each other. It's just some curls and hitches, and it's very frustrating, man.
It's
so
why I do think he's gonna get another chance though, and I am gonna give him another. As much as it's no secret that I don't like the way he's called games. He does get another chance. He does get a mulligan once again, just because of how crazy this year is. To me, some things are inexcusable. Going back to it doesn't take 14 weeks to install an offense, and you play calling decisions. But hey, maybe with a legit offseason under his belt, with the players, with the rest of the coaching staff, maybe he comes back and we see something different. And talking about with Saquon back healthy, with like I was saying for Daniel Jones, with Saquon, with a good offensive line for week 1. Who knows what we see next year? Which is why I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give him next year. I'm gonna give him next year.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens when he has. Hopefully, with this whole COVID thing, it starts to slow down. Hopefully, we actually get a real off season with these guys, and Saquon's able to rehab right. And we don't. I mean, injuries are going to happen. They're going to happen to every team every year. But let's hope we don't have a lot of injuries on either side of the ball, just especially the offensive side of the ball. I want to see those guys click and get together. I really want to see a year where Saquon's in his 4th year and Daniel Jones is in his 3rd year. I'm
so
really
2 years from now.
Yeah. Well, no. This is Daniel Jones' 3rd year.
You're saying 2 years from now. You want to see this upcoming year is going to be his 3rd year.
No. Saquon's 4th year
is going to be 2 years from now.
Really? Oh, this is Saquon's. No.
Oh,
I'm right.
Hold up. You said Daniel Jones's
3rd year.
And oh, yeah, you're right. Year. I am tripping, bro.
It's been that long. It's been that long.
Wow, yo.
4 years,
4 years of Saquon already?
Yeah. Because we barely got to see Saquon. That's why.
Yeah, it's really about to be. This was Saquon's 3rd year. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm really anxious to see a 4th year with Saquon and a 3rd year with Daniel Jones, and hopefully that they get a good chemistry.
Oh, damn. They timed out mixed sports.
Oh, what happened to mixed sports?
I don't know. They timed them out for 300 seconds.
Oh, was it or was it mixed sports that timed somebody out?
No, mixed sports is not a mod. He got timed out.
Oh man. Well,
I hope you guys are chilling in there, man, in the chat.
Yeah. Hey guys, the slander's okay, man. If he's slandering and hearing all I hear is blasphemy, listen, man, I don't care. Just let him speak. It's fine.
But yeah, let's get into what we talked about beforehand with Joe Judge and his quotes, right? So I'm sure a good amount of people in here already saw my video today. YouTube been sliming not just me, there's a couple of content creators lately by not sending out notifications and whatnot. But I put out a video today about an article that came out yesterday, right? So this was before we found out about the second Daniel Jones injury on his other leg, about Joe Judge and how he felt about putting DJ back in. The first quote I read in that video is basically Judge saying, there's no regrets, there's no second guessing. We're fine. We were fine putting him back in. We don't regret it now. And Daniel Jones saying the same thing. How do you think his mind is right now after the next news? Or do you think he already knew DJ rolled his ankle and he's still like, nope, no regrets?
Oh, yeah, I'd say he knew already. I definitely, before the press knows, he's got to know. Like I've said this off the air. I feel like, with Joe Judge and Daniel Jones were just football players in general, or football staff or whatever. When they talk to the media, they're never really going to pin it on them and be like, oh man, I was wrong. He should not have played. That was on me. I don't think you'll ever see that. I don't even care if Daniel Jones if Daniel Jones were to break his leg in the previous game because Joe Judge made him play or let him play. I still don't think Judge would have came out and said, oh well, we shouldn't have done that. I think they would have just said we made the wrong call or whatever. But
I said in my video, I was like, listen, maybe Judge is trying to be as consistent as possible, and he's like, I'm gonna own up to it and not, try and be a flip-flop guy in the media. But I'm like, you definitely got to come on, man. Your quarterback got re-injured, and then he got an additional injury on top of that. You're telling me you don't regret that? Come on.
I'm pretty sure he's thinking about it to himself, like, man, I definitely shouldn't have done that.
And
And
it's not like I'm gonna kill Judge over it because he's been a good
right.
coach, you know.
And I just don't want Joe Judge to feel pressure to make these decisions, because obviously ownership has had a huge impact on the decisions made in the past couple of years, especially with Dave Gettleman in his first year. It seemed like the Giants were really trying to win in a win now mode for whatever reason. In the Gettleman's first year as GM, and I'm pretty sure that was definitely on the ownership. You look at Dave Gettleman when he went into Carolina, he just rebuilt it from the start. I trust Dave Gettleman knew what he was doing, but he just had to take orders from the ownership. I just don't want ownership to go ahead and infect Joe Judge's mind on, listen, you
Nah,
got
I gotta think I gotta think he's mentally stronger than that. Like he seems like a very
oh, for
mentally tough guy.
sure, for sure. But at the same time, those are the guys that cut his checks. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So,
And what was funny about it, I told KB, I put out this video like around 2 o'clock. The first time I at least saw like the confirmed news of DJ's second injury was like around 3, and I'm like, perfect timing, yo. You don't regret it. An hour later, boom, another injury. And then
yeah,
also in there, and KB has some pretty good thoughts on this one before the stream as well. He's talking about Joe Judge. This is talking about putting Cole McCoy. He's like, don't be surprised if Cole McCoy is out there in some special packages and whatnot. And I'm just like, if Cole McCoy is out there in packages, then don't put Daniel Jones out there at all because it means Daniel Jones isn't completely healthy to run those packages.
right. And then I said, what packages can you possibly put Colt McCoy in that you can't put Daniel in? I mean, what, you're gonna put Colt McCoy in a wildcat situation or something like that? Like, what's going on here? Some Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz action. I don't know.
Shout out to Bobby Woodruff in the chat.
What up, Bobby? What's going on, Bobby? He didn't take orders. He just wants to make ownership. Yeah, that's what I fear, Mickey. That's what I fear. I fear that Judge, although I think he's very strong-willed, he would still have like a kind of a sympathy for the ownership and say, hey, I'm just gonna do what they want me to do or whatever. I just hope that it doesn't slowly infect his mind, and that's what he becomes, a puppet, like all these other coaches have been, and what Dave Gettleman was in the beginning years. I don't want them to influence him because you guys know what happens in Dallas all the time. Jerry Jones is a huge influence on the coaching and how personnel is ran over there in Dallas. I don't want that to be the same case in New York and saying, hey, Daniel Jones we drafted him. He's our franchise guy. I want him out there because we want to make the playoffs. I don't want it to work like that. I'd rather be patient and, get everything going slowly rather than rush through it and ultimately fail, because obviously that'll look a lot worse than actually doing things right then failing. So
Completely agree, man.
Mm-hmm. So we got Mixed Sports is back. Welcome back from prison. He says, yeah, I'm really gonna take some time out. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna get into the whole drama there. You guys could handle that.
Yeah, I will say that though. Yeah, if he has a different opinion, don't time him out for that. Mix has been a member or not member, a subscriber of both of us for a long time now. He's chill.
Right. Blue City Empire Sports says, do you guys think we could beat the Browns? It's an interesting topic to get to now. I'll let the hub start with this one because I got some reserved thoughts that people may not like. So I'm gonna divert to you, man.
I want to preface what I'm about to say by any given Sunday in the NFL. All right, any given Sunday, anything could happen. But as we stand here or sit here on December 16th at 10 p.m. 2020,
Exactly. 10 p.m.
I don't think that we're going to beat the Browns. Could we, once again, any given Sunday? But I don't think that we are going to beat the Browns. Right now, Cleveland is the better team. Right now, the Giants might once again be rolling without their starting quarterback. And you may say to yourself, wait, we beat Seattle without our starting quarterback. Though the Browns are a different team.
I think they're better
from Seattle. I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm just gonna say that they're a different team from Seattle. And I feel like I don't know if the Giants could handle a team like the Browns that has such a potent rushing. I gotta think, right? Maybe I'm overlooking something. Is there a team that we played this year that had like one of the best rushing offenses and definitely the best running back duo in the league?
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Like, I don't know if we've tackled a team like that before. And Giants run defense is strong. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost. And people are good. Don't get the pitchforks up now. Don't get the pitchforks up because what I'm about to say. It's almost kind of like the Chiefs offense in the sense that with the Chiefs, it's a passing game, so strong, And even if by some miracle you manage to stop that, they got a pretty potent running game. With the Browns, the running game is so strong. And even if you manage to stop that, they got a nice passing game. You know what I'm saying? It's a very, very different offense from what the Giants have faced so far this year, I think. And of course, the reason I'm talking about their offense versus our defense is because that's all it's going to be. Our offense is not going to do anything.
Right. I have really I'm actually worried about this game. I really am worried about this game, Sunday Night Football as well. I was confident in this game coming off that Seattle win, and even if we would have lost to the Cardinals, but lost in a good fight, I would have still been kind of confident in the Browns game or excited about it. I'm not. I think call me crazy, man. I think we're gonna get our third blowout this season.
I don't know, man.
I listen, man. Just hear me out here. I know we like to talk crap about the Browns.
I know, like I think we're about to lose, but a blowout. Like the Giants are actually a hard team to blow out this year. Like we're not an easy team to blow out.
Yeah, but at the same time, when we get bullied, we don't. It's very hard for us to fight back. Like if we make a mistake, one thing I've seen about this team, we have fight in us. But once this team feels like they're going down and down and down, they don't scratch up. They don't scratch up. We don't make a comeback. I know sometimes we make defensive plays, but once we start bending and breaking, we don't come back from it. And the Cleveland Browns are the team to look at in the 2020 NFL season for that. They run the ball extremely well. Once this team gets gassed, once the defense gets gassed out and demoralized because they just keep running and running and running on us, that's gonna be our demise right there. Listen, Cleveland is about to have 2 1,000-yard rushers this season. 2. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb they're both at 900 yards.
It's all about our defense this Sunday. It's all about the defense. I know once again we're a good run defense, but this is the best running back duo in the league. And like KB said, 2,000-yard rushers. That's a different beast.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that's hot and cold. If he's hot, he's going to be really, really good. If he's cold, the Giants are going to have to find a way to get to him because then you can make him make mistakes and try to get the game through him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though. Like where the Cleveland has an underrated offensive line, in my opinion.
Their offensive line has been playing great.
Let's not forget they got Jedrick Wills, who was the guy, in my opinion, the second best all-lineman in the league, and even then, some people consider him, to be one of the best, just like they do with every 4 guys. They got a good offensive line over there, man. They got a good tight end game. They got good wide receivers. It's gonna be a challenge of getting to Baker Mayfield, I think.
I think so as well, and I think the big factor in this game is Baker Mayfield because either way, I think they're going to run the ball pretty strong. I know we have a great defensive line and stopping the run, but one thing we've seen this season is that sometimes our defensive line against really good running games, we start to let up a lot. All right, so I just want to keep that in mind, guys. Do not be surprised if they run for over like 100 and plus on us, okay? More than 100, all right? Because when this team starts to give up a couple of yards in the run, it just keeps happening, especially towards the end of the game. Towards the fourth quarter and things like that. And one issue is that the Giants have been doing a really good job of stopping a running back and having them get fatigue and drowning them out and things like that. But they have 2 pairs of fresh legs in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. If one of them is off their game, they'll just throw the other one in there. And they run the ball extremely well. They're a great run blocking team, especially outside of the tackles. And these guys, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I'm a running back guy. It's in my username. I love watching these guys play because they're tough runners, and even when they hit the corner, they still have the same speed and hit you with the same power as if they were running down in a straight line. They're really athletic, have really good agility, and can turn the corner a lot better than you may think for pretty much power backs. They're pretty much like one-cut guys, but I really fear Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I think they're going to be, the carriers for the Cleveland Browns team just in general. Mm-hmm. And I do fear that Cleveland defense, Olivier Vernon should listen. Marcus Golden had a great game against his former team in the Giants. I expect Olivier Vernon to go out there and have a good game against
or try to have it, yeah.
Or try to have it, but he's been having a pretty decent season so up to this point. Not fantastic, but pretty decent season up to this point. I expect him to probably make some plays as well, try to get some revenge. He's going to have some extra motivation in this game. And on top of that as well, of course, the man Myles Garrett, he was an absolute monster. This is our first time.
Is he going to be back?
I don't know. I don't know. But if he does play, this is gonna be his first time facing up against us.
He didn't face us in 2016.
No, he didn't.
Really? Why
No.
was he like injured? I did not know if he was injured his rookie year.
I know. All I know is that he did not play against us. Let me see.
Okay. Real quick though, shout out to Sam K. I saw your comment. He says, "To be honest, I'm tired with Daniel Jones hate. He's much better with Saquon, and these receivers some of the worst in the league. Do you agree?" I agree with half of it. I don't think these receivers are some of the worst in the league. I think they're definitely bottom half, right? They're definitely bottom half. They can't get open, but some of it is also the play calling. So I agree with most of what you're saying, though. I definitely agree with most of what you're saying. Shout out to Mikey C, Logan, Mark, Primetime, Zachary. Primetime says, if the Giants get eliminated this week, do you see them going with Colts to finish this? They might go with Colts to finish the season just because DJ might be out for the rest of the season.
Right.
But, I mean,
Listen, here's the thing. I don't think it was the question is if he gets benched for Colt McCoy. Is that the question?
no, he's
No.
saying like if we get eliminated this week, are they just gonna roll with Colt for the rest of the season?
Oh no, the Giants. Listen, for the Giants, and people need to get especially the younger fans. This season is not meant to be a playoff run. Now they're trying to do that. The Giants are trying to do that, but if they get eliminated for the playoffs, I don't think they're losing any sleep. This year was a rebuilding year. I believe they're still trying to do that, but they have a chance of making the playoffs. So they're like, oh, let me just try to do this. But if they're out, don't expect the Giants to change anything that they're doing. Bench players or sit Daniel Jones. If they were gonna start Daniel Jones with a playoff run, they're gonna start him eliminated from one. And one thing I will say, I will shut down the talk right now. Daniel Jones will not be benched due to quarterback play for Colt McCoy. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to happen. So forget about the headlines and all those narratives people want to draw up, but it's not going to happen.
Kyle Cruz says, I don't see who beats the Giants in the playoffs. Coming from a Texans fan. Wish you guys luck. We in playoffs. Thank you, Texan fan. Kyle
If
Cruz.
we make it.
Listen, there's a lot of teams that could beat the Giants in the playoffs. Now, there's definitely teams that would match up well with. Like, I still think we're going to have a good shot against Tampa Bay. I still think we could have a good shot against Seattle. I'm looking like right now, if a team like, say, let me bring up the playoff.
I don't want Arizona. I'll tell you that.
Like there's definitely teams that could beat, like, bro, the Rams would destroy us in the playoffs. There's definitely teams that could beat us. The Saints, I'm actually kind of iffy on them. I don't know. The Packers would probably destroy us in the playoffs. Like there's definitely teams that will get us.
Call me crazy. I think we could beat the Saints. I think it will be positive. I think it will be a really tough, sloppy, ugly game. I think we could beat the Saints if they start Taysom Hill. I think we will kill Taysom Hill. This team against quarterbacks have been pretty good. Taysom Hill's not a quarterback. He's a tight end playing quarterback. That's what he is.
I don't know what Taysom Hill is, man.
Yeah.
Like for example, the Vikings and the Bears are still in the playoff hunt. Like there's those teams I think we got a chance to. But if we're talking about right now, the Rams would smack us. The Cardinals probably would smack us. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Packers would smack us. The Saints, I think, would smack us with or without Taysom Hill, but that's just me. Because you got to remember who's on that Saints defense there.
Right.
It's like, there's a fruit fly in here. But yeah, man, that's kind of what it is. And it's kind of weird looking at this NFC playoff pitcher spot right now, man. It's so weird because just a couple years ago, it was the AFC that was the weaker conference, and I really think it's flipped. I think the NFC is the weaker conference now. Like
it flipped from 1 year. Last year, the NFC was strong.
Bro, the NFC has been the stronger conference, I want to say, for like the past decade, maybe 2 decades. Like, look at the AFC playoff picture right now. You got the Chiefs, Steelers, Bills, Titans, Browns, Colts, Dolphins, right? Because it's going to be 7 playoff seeds.
Mm-hmm.
I think all those teams are pretty good teams in the playoffs. And don't even forget the 2 teams that are not in there right now that could be in there by the end of the season, Ravens and Raiders. They both could be in there, and those are 2 other really good teams.
So good. The AFC is so good that with a 7th seed, the Baltimore Ravens are still in the hunt. They're not even in.
No. With the 8th seed, the Baltimore Ravens are in the hunt.
Oh, they're in there? Yeah, but they're at the 8th seed. They're not even in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm saying you said 7. That's why I'm like 7th seed means they are in the playoffs. 8th seed, they're on the bubble.
No. I'm saying that they didn't even make the 7th seed.
Oh, okay, bet. And then you look at the NFC side. You got Packers, Saints, Rams, Washington, Seattle, Bucks, Cardinals. Out of all these teams, I'm only scared of Packers, Saints, Rams, to be completely honest with you. And even then, like the Saints is kind of iffy. Maybe.
Wait, you're not scared of the Cardinals?
No, I'm talking about not as a Giants fan. I'm talking about as general football. I don't see the Giants really. I don't see the Cardinals really beating anybody if they get into the playoffs. They're going to be matched up with the Packers. because they're
Right.
going to be the 7th seed. They're going to get bounced in the first. That's just me. The NFC is like, it's flipped. I find that kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the Saints are very beatable, and Philly showed that. They are pretty beatable, especially with Taysom Hill. I don't know. I can't understand for the life of me why Taysom Hill is still starting a quarterback. I know Jameis Winston is not the most conservative quarterback out there, but the guy,
Yo, that is so disrespectful to Jameis, but it really started Taysom Hill over him.
right? And I was begging for them to put Jameis Winston in against the Eagles. I think he would have won them the game. But Taysom Hill is just not the right guy, man. Not the right guy to fit in there. Let me see. The Cards don't fear no one. That's a double negative. So you're saying the Cards do fear someone. Drew Brees is hurt. KB, stop it. Yeah, but I'm talking about starting Jameis Winston, not Drew Brees. NFC is weak. Yeah, the NFC is very weak this year, and it sucks. It's really unfortunate that the Giants aren't good this year, because I feel like the Giants could have made a huge run this year if they were where they want to be at. And it's a wasted opportunity. But hopefully the Giants get better and the NFC still stays weak.
Let's talk about the NFCs for a second. Who you think is going to wrap this division up?
I don't want to be one of those guys that keeps flip-flopping, right? But I just based on the remaining schedule, I don't see the Giants pulling it off. I know I was a huge believer in that. For the throne, hashtag for the throne. Huge believer in that. But it's not the Arizona loss that really got me. What really got me is how good Washington looks now. It's not even about the Giants. It's how good Washington. They're 6-7 right now. They beat an undefeated Pittsburgh team, and they went out and looked very, very good, better than what the score showed against the San Francisco 49ers. That was a really, really good game. And that was, I believe, without Antonio Gibson, and that was with Alex Smith getting hurt. So they still were able to face adversity without their pretty much best two players on offense, and they were still able to close out the win with Dwayne Haskins at quarterback. Now, here's the issue. If Dwayne Haskins starts the remainder of the season, the Giants have a shot. I don't think Alex Smith is fantastic, but I think Alex Smith has what it takes to get it done. He's been one of the better quarterbacks at doing that, at being that game manager for over a decade now. So if Dwayne Haskins plays, the Giants have a shot. But I'm going to have to say Washington's going to take it. And King Sean, shout out to you, man, because I know he was like, I know Washington is going to take it. So I support the Giants all the way. So you know what, King Sean? I support Washington all the way if they make it. I will support Washington to win in the playoffs.
Whoa, KB, wait a minute. You're walking back now, because a couple of weeks ago, when I was talking about, I got respect for Washington, I don't hate them, I even support them in the playoffs, you were like, nah, I can't support Washington. Now you support Washington.
Was that me? I don't know.
That was you.
I don't know.
I was like, I was talking about, because I was talking about my hatred levels for NFC East rivals. I was like, I don't hate Washington. I kind of, Washington's just, he's a cool dude. I don't speak to him because he's not my people. But he's a cool dude. I hate the Eagles. I hate the Cowboys. And I said during that show, I'm like, if Washington were to make it in the playoffs, I would cheer for them, because, I ain't got no problem with Washington. We're okay. And you were like, nah, bro, they're still an NFC East rival.
If I said that, then I'm having a little soft spot right now then for the Washington football team, just because King Sean was a really, really good supporter of the Giants. So I got to do my due diligence here and say, I support the Washington football team. If they, I don't want nobody to clip that now. Okay. I support them if they make the playoffs.
And shout out to Edward. Edward has definitely he's been telling me for weeks, keep your eye on Washington. Back when they had when both of us had 4 or 5 wins, they're like, keep your eye on Washington, bro. They might come up, and they are. And I agree with you. Looking at the remaining schedule and how good Washington looks right now, I definitely think they would be the one to wrap up the division. Let me pull up. There's 3 games left in the season, guys. Let me pull up the schedule real quick.
Just levels it out again. It's been crazy how tight this NFC East division is, man. It's like no one team is going to get away with it. If they try to get away with it, something's going to happen. They're bringing them back down. Look at the Giants, for example. They had that huge wins against Seattle. Everybody's like, oh my God, Giants are going to win it. They look like the best team in the East right now. And then Daniel Jones, gets hurt again in that Arizona game, and we start going downhill again. Now Washington is starting to rise up, and then Washington's all the way on top. And now
Washington is at 6 wins right now, right?
Yeah,
they're 6 wins. They could very realistically get to 8-8. You know why? Because they're gonna lose against Seattle. I don't think Seattle's gonna underestimate another NFC East opponent.
Right.
And I said this a couple weeks ago, I said they're not beating the Panthers because the Panthers are a better team than the record shows. The Panthers are a worse team than Washington right now.
Yeah,
The
man.
Panthers are a worse day. They kind of fell off a little bit. I guess it was just the course of the season. They had a good spot. I really don't know, and I see that. I really don't know if the Panthers are going to be Washington. It will be kind of crazy if they do, but I think they got to win against the Panthers, and then they close out against the Eagles. Like Jalen Hurts had a great, 150 plus passing, 100 yards on the ground game, won it for the Eagles against the Saints. Is he going to replicate that for the rest of the season? I don't know. Definitely makes that Eagles game harder, but I think Washington gets that Eagles game as well. Like it's kind of crazy. And then you look at the Giants over here. Let me pull up the Giants. So obviously this week we got the Browns, and then we got the Ravens, and then we got the Cowboys. It's like, we might just go 1-2 in that stretch.
Yeah, and you know what? If we go 1-2, if we finish 6-10, I'm happy with it. 6-10, that's 2 wins. Listen, in a harder schedule with
Mm-hmm.
no off season, virtually no off
And
season,
with a bunch of players injured.
right? Bunch of players injured, including Saquon Barkley. We still finished the season 2 wins better than last season.
Yep, and it's not just on the win record that we improved. We all know we improved on the field, just about everywhere except for the offense.
Right, I'm not upset, and everybody's gonna be so mad that we missed out on the playoffs, and it was right there in our hands, and that's pretty much what people are gonna be mad at. They'll get over it once they see a top 10 draft pick. They'll get over it.
Yeah,
So
not only are they gonna get over it because of that, these fans are gonna get over it because they're gonna realize that this is the same team that had Daniel Jones not gone down or had a couple of calls gone the right way. Right now, we're probably sitting at like 7-5 or something. This is that same team they're going to realize that Saquon's going to be back. They're going to realize that, oh my God, we had an offseason where we could add on to this, and that, oh my God, that was that coaching staff's first year. And
yeah,
oh my God, we might have better edge rushers to go along with the incredible interior.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're gonna realize, what, coming into the year, we weren't even supposed to be talking playoffs. We got hot because we, for some reason, were in the playoff talk, which is a testament to how much the team has improved.
Yeah, and I made my undrafted analyst podcast, guys. If you guys haven't already checked that out, I made a clip of it, so you guys can just watch this clip. Well, I just lost my train of thought. I just lost my train of thought just now. What the heck were we talking about? I just saw freaking everybody talking about KB OnlyFans. I'm like, what's going on right now?
Washington and the Giants, and Giants fans calming down about the record.
I don't remember. Damn it! I lost my train of thought. It's all good, guys. We'll move on. It'll come back to me. Playoff was not the year because we were going into the year without no expectation. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the Giants. Gaining that top 10 pick, not making the playoffs, and we'll get a top 10 pick and whatever. We'll see Washington make the playoffs, and hopefully we do something with that draft pick, and it's a huge improvement from last season. So I don't mind it whatsoever. We say KB will never be a Cowboys fan. That's right.
Let me just clean this camera real quick as you get some more thoughts out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back here so I can regain my thought. It was a really good thought, and it just died. Okay, got it. All right. I made my podcast came out last night. For those of you guys that missed it, make sure you guys check it out. It'll be on Spotify. I'll put it on Spotify tonight. But it's on YouTube, and it's also in clips as well, so you guys can watch it in clips. I talked about Miami. I know a lot of people brung up how similar they are to Miami, but I really took a deep dive into what Miami did this season and what they were last season. So make sure you guys check out that part of the podcast out. But you look at where the Giants are right now, and I think the most comparable team to the New York Giants is the Miami Dolphins. You look at where the Giants are right now; they are in a much better track than Miami was last season. Miami started to get going last season around this time, but they finished the season 5-11. We're at 5-8 right now. We have 3 more games to play, and on top of that, the Giants they've only gotten blown out twice this year. And, Miami was blown out all the time. So, of course, same thing with the quarterback situation. They had a question at quarterback situation. We kind of have a quarterback situation, right? So the Giants are, and we kind of have our guy back. Last year, Miami didn't even know who their guy was. So because they haven't drafted Tua yet. So the Giants are already off to a better track than Miami is, and look where Miami is right now. Look where Miami is right. They were 5-11 last season, and now they're in competition of winning the AFC East. All right, the Giants are in the Giants could very well next season with a full off season and another draft class and another free agency class. We could very well be in Miami shoes next season. 8 wins at this point of the season, competing for the NFC East. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. It's not over yet. I know we got this one loss after a 4-game winning streak, and we think the world's ending. It's not over yet. Next season is going to be great for the New York Giants. I mark my words, man. We're going to be very satisfied with the Giants next season. And I think they're going to be an extremely competitive team.
I agree with you, man. The Giants, and it all depends on if this offseason goes right. Like, this offseason could go completely wrong. And either, like, what I mean by wrong is nothing happens. And that's for some reason we re-sign everybody, but then somehow don't manage to sign anybody else of note. So it would just be depth guys. Or we even lose people and it gets worse.
Right.
But for us to be really competitive next year and to take the same step that Miami took, we need to re-sign every or majority of the players that we got right now and add somebody else, whether that is in the draft or free agency. I think we could still add somebody in free agency that would be a good piece and make an impact. I'm thinking specifically cornerback number 2, if there are any good cornerbacks out there this offseason in terms of free agents, I would sign a cornerback number 2. I know a lot of people want to draft one, including myself, by the way. Like, I'm a big fan of J.C. Horn and a couple of other guys that are mocked in the late first, or early second rounds, because that's where I want to take a corner number 2. But if we could sign a corner number 2, get a wide receiver in the draft, use that second round pick, maybe get our second linebacker if there's a good one there, and then get, who knows, maybe like a really good tight end in the third or something. Like, the thing about this offseason, it's gonna need to be a bit more offense focused. Because it would have been defense focused if there was like a legit edge that we could have got to pair with this interior, but there just isn't. There's no legit edge on the free agent market. There's no legit edge in the draft. So shift your side to the offense, get him that weapon, and get him that secondary weapon, potentially to replace Evan Ingram down the line in the future.
Yeah, I great words there. I completely agree. King Sean, is Peppers a strong safety or free safety? He is a strong safety. McKinney is slated as our replacement for Logan Ryan. If Logan Ryan were not to make the offseason at free safety. So
right now, I'm looking at, this is SpotTrack.com, cornerback free agents for 2021. In no particular order: Patrick Peterson, Richard Sherman. I don't know if any of them would like to take a cheaper contract and be a corner number 2. I don't know.
For sure. How old is Pat P?
Pat P is 31. Sherman is 33.
Sherman could very well land with the Giants. Listen, he's 33 years old. He's not going to take a big contract. He's coming off an injured year. We'll get him for nothing. I wouldn't mind.
I hope we do. I hope we get him for nothing. I would like that. That's my cornerback number 2 right there.
Yeah, and Pat P will be a little, just because Patrick Peterson has had a lot better consistency. Even
he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. He's been more consistent than Richard Sherman in past years, but I would love to bring Sherman in here, man, just as a stopgap cornerback. I wouldn't mind it.
And I'll be honest with you, a name that's right here on the list within the top 5 is Logan Ryan. I'm keep it real with you. I love Logan Ryan. I haven't thought about re-signing him like that. I really haven't, because we have Logan. It's harsh, and some people not like it, but we have Logan Ryan's replacement on the roster because he plays free safety. Now, that doesn't mean Xavier McKinney is going to come in and right away be as good as Ryan was this year, because I think Ryan surprised a lot of people with how good he was at free safety. He really was good. But I'm not like, it's not a major priority for me as the GM to go out there and re-sign Logan Ryan, right? So he's listed at cornerback when he's technically a safety. But other guys on here, DJ Hayden, I don't want anything to do with Josh Norman, Jason McCourty, Brian Poole, Mackenzie Alexander, Jimmy Smith from Baltimore, who I think could be a good number 2. You don't like Jimmy Smith?
He's been He's been decimated with injuries, and he sucked. He's like you saw that Baltimore Browns game. Dude never plays. I mean, he's just been replaced by all the corners over there. I hell no. Jimmy Smith is like the fourth corner on their roster.
Terrence Mitchell, Mike Hilton, Mike Davis, Xavier Rhodes, Darby. I didn't even know Darby's on Washington now.
Man.
Rashad Breeland, Garrett Conley, William Jackson, PJ Williams. Like, those are the names out there right now. And I think all of them, or most of them, would be a cornerback number 2 type of guy.
Yeah, and William Jackson would probably be an interesting guy. I don't know how much he'll get paid, but I think this will be.
And he's 28. He's with Cincy right now, 28 years old.
Yeah. I loved William Jackson.
Right now, he's getting paid $2.5 million.
Yeah, so yeah, well, I think he's coming out. When was this guy drafted? I think he was drafted in the 2016 draft. So he's got to be. Yeah, he's. I think he's off his rookie deal. Yeah, he's off his rookie deal for sure. And no, this is 2016. Oh no, the reason why he's making $2.5 million because he's still on his rookie deal. That's the 5th-year option. So William Jackson should be making way more money than that in his new contract. So, but I like William Jackson. I like Richard Sherman. Listen, man, we can go in some directions here. We'll bring in somebody. I trust Dave Gettleman is going to bring in somebody. Darby would be great. But Darby's going to get paid, man, because Darby is also tied for first with.
Yeah, King Sean saying they're not letting Darby go.
Yeah, Darby's tied for first with James Bradbury in forcing completions with 17. So he's having a really good year. So. No way. I think Darby makes like close to 14 million a year next year. So, there was an interesting name that you brought up there. Oh yeah. Well, with Logan Ryan, what would you say if Logan Ryan said, "Hey, I'll stay for just $8 million instead of 7.5 like this year? I'll stay for 2 years, $16 million." What would you say to that?
Bro, it's literally still the case of that is a great deal for Logan Ryan, by the way. Like 2 years, $8 million. That's a great deal. You are getting a discount. The problem is, I'm like, Logan, tell me why I should re-sign you when I got McKinney on the roster right now.
Why can't we use him as a like the same thing we've been using him as anyway? With instead of Julian Love in there, you have Xavier McKinney there plus Logan Ryan and Jabril Peppers.
I don't think that's smart. If anything, it should be McKinney stepping into what Logan Ryan's role is this year because you want the young guy to eventually, at some point, take over that spot, right? If Ryan's coming back and he would be willing to go back into the slot and then we flex somebody like Darnay out to the outside. I know you say you have a size problem with him, but that's what he played in college. You know what I'm saying? He was an outside corner in college. He wasn't great. You know, he was good. He's gonna get beat every now and then, but the real problem with me personally though is that we got bro, we have the next man up, right? Unless you're about to come back for some dirt cheap, which I don't think he is gonna do, and I don't think he should do because he deserves, a good amount of money with the play he's given. I don't know, man. What are you thinking? What's your own question there?
I would definitely do it. Here's the thing. I get, Xavier McKinney is coming in to be a replacement, but at the same time, Xavier McKinney hasn't been getting a lot of playing time, and I know that shouldn't matter because he would have been getting a lot of playing time as a rookie anyway. But I just love I guess it's like overkill, right? It's overkill, right? If you let go of Logan Ryan, if you let him walk, okay, you got Xavier McKinney, pretty much no harm, no foul, right? But if you keep Logan Ryan on a team-friendly deal, then you have overkill. You have 3 really good safeties that you can use as defensive backs because Xavier McKinney is very versatile, Jabril's very versatile, and Logan's very versatile. So you just have that fluidity there of those 3 safeties, and they'll be pretty much classified as defensive backs more than just safeties, because you'll see one of them line up in the slot, the other in the box, and then they'll shift and transition from there. I like the factor there. Now, if we don't keep Logan Ryan, I'm okay with it. If we let him walk, I'll be a little upset just because I feel like he's a really good leader on this team. He brings a really good energy to the team, and I think that matters a lot.
Well, here's the thing too, right? You said like $8 million. Like right now, we're giving him $5 million. Like it works out a lot for us because we're giving him a good amount of money right now. We're giving him fair amount.
7.5 altogether.
7.5. I'm looking at Spot Track. For some reason, it's saying 5.05.
Is that cap hit or is that?
What does AAV stand for?
I don't know, but
That's what it says.
all I know is that when we signed him, it was one year, $7.5 million.
You
So
think maybe 2 mil was in incentives?
probably that's probably maybe. So I don't know, but either way, I would probably keep the guy for around 8 million a year. So 2 years, $16 million. That's what I would go.
And since somebody had brought it up earlier, I just want to say, they brought up the outside linebacker position right now. Free agents that we're looking at there: Von Miller, Matt Judon, Melvin Ingram, Bud Dupree, Shaq Barrett, Big Ov Vernon, Levante David. Hasn't Levante David been playing on the inside a little bit this year? Leonard Floyd,
Yeah,
KJ Wright.
put on the inside just because they switched to 3-4. But
Yeah. Okay.
play outside.
Devondre Campbell, our dude Kyler Fackrell. Now, if we could get somebody like, for example, Melvin Ingram on a cheap contract, I would like that, but I don't see him going for a cheap contract. He is 32 years old, so maybe he would consider it. You mentioned Bud Dupree because of the ACL tear. Maybe he'll bring his price down. I don't think he would. I think he just take what I think there's a team out there that's going to pay Bud Dupree. I do, even with the ACL tear,
Yeah,
right?
and
Shaq Barrett's definitely going to get paid. I don't know how he's not going to get paid. KJ Wright would be interesting, but he's 32, with Seattle. Yeah. Like I said, I don't really see anybody that I'm going to go out there and try to get in terms of the edge rushing department.
yeah, I probably wouldn't. I think KJ Wright's more like a stand-up linebacker, and I don't know why they haven't included in there. But yeah, it's interesting, man. We'll see what happens. Everybody, throw out your comments here. It's pretty much a little bit of a slow week today, so not too much to talk about. Throw out your last comments. We'll be wrapping this up pretty soon, probably around 10:40. So we got like 7 minutes left. I'll be wrapping this up. So go ahead and get your last thoughts and comments out there. We'll talk about it. Melvin Ingram, not that good. That's what King Sean is saying. He's up there in age, but he'll be a good guy, to bring in there just for a veteran presence because obviously our young guys aren't really doing too much. Wolves, don't chill out with the spam, man. I get you guys are trying to be funny, all that stuff. It's cool. I don't mind it, but don't spam too much. Can you guys go over the wide receiver free agents this offseason? You want to do the honors, Hub?
All right, let me pull it up. Wide receiver free agents. So I'm just going to list them in the order that they're listed to me. AJ Green, Allen Robinson, T.Y. Hilton, Larry Legend, Sammy Watkins, Marvin Jones, Brashad Perriman, Corey Davis, Willie Snead, Cordell Patterson, Danny Amendola, John Ross, Keenan Cole, Kendrick Bourne, Will Fuller. So I'm going to stop it there. Damn. There's a lot of old guys on this list.
Yeah, I like Corey Davis a lot, man.
Yeah,
I don't think Corey Davis is going to get the bag. He's not.
He's not going to get the bag, but does Corey Davis fit what we need here at the wide receiver position?
Yeah, he's a taller wide receiver that creates separation. I like Corey Davis, and he's not going to be looked at to be a number one guy. Like, remember, because Corey Davis has had the best statistical season he's had with AJ Brown in the lineup because he's like more of a number two guy, which also is like, okay,
that's what I'm saying. We have a bunch of number twos,
number two guys in there, but I mean, we never know. We bring in a Jamar Chase, and we have Corey Davis, Jamar Chase, and
that's the thing though. If we're being realistic, if we sign any wide receiver, even somebody like Corey Davis, I don't think we're gonna draft the wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah, because think about it as well. Sterling Shepard's making like $11 million a year with us. So, man, that one's how come Chris Godwin isn't listed there? Chris Godwin's not even close to being a free agent. Dude just got drafted like 3 years ago.
Yeah, Chris Godwin, I think, was in 2017 draft. I completely forgot T.Y. Hilton was going to be a free agent. What do you think about getting T.Y. Hilton, if possible, on a cheap contract?
It would be nice too. He's a smaller guy, gets some separation. I heard that he's not been having a great season as of late. I don't know.
You think it's because of age? He is 31.
Yeah, maybe because of age, but I wouldn't mind bringing an older guy in here. I don't mind. That's veteran presence. Listen. I know a lot of teams don't like the older guys, but this team needs it. We have too many young guys. We need some veteran presence.
You know who's technically an older guy I wouldn't mind bringing in? I'm not sure if they're gonna leave their team though, because they might get re-signed. Sammy Watkins. I wouldn't mind bringing in Sammy Watkins, man.
Oh yeah, Sammy Watkins. And King Sean says 2016. You're gonna have to check. It may be because Chris Godwin was already resigned. Who knows? maybe he was already re-signed.
Yeah, but Sammy Watkins is a name that rings out to me.
Yeah.
Definitely would like to bring it in. I mean, even coming out the draft, he was a speedy guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would not mind that man.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Sammy Watkins in here as well. He's a speedy guy and a guy that attacks the 50-50 ball, So that would be nice. And coming from a Kansas City scheme, he's used to running fast offense. So that would be nice to have. Mickey C says, let's hope Gregory Russo falls to the G-Man at 32 in the draft.
Yeah.
Corey Davis would be a good pickup. Yeah, okay. I mean,
Listen, man.
Have the 32nd pick.
Guys, make it happen. Gregory Rousseau falls to us with the 32nd pick in the draft. Make it happen.
Yep, falls to the Giants at 32, and without the Giants trading to 32. Yeah.
I was just about to say, don't worry, we're gonna be trading down to 32. That's what's gonna happen. Oh man. Yeah, we're probably gonna end it out here now, though. I'm guessing.
Yeah, we're gonna end this out here, guys. Thank you guys for joining the stream. It's a little bit of a slow week just because not too much going on. Obviously, we're still a little down in the dumps. Between the Giants are just not where we want them to be right now. We're really kind of anxious on how it's gonna look on Sunday night. So we will be live for that game. I don't know. Are we on OGR's channel or are we on mine? What are we doing?
I think it's on OGR's.
All right, so we're gonna be doing a huge, collab there on OGR channel. So make sure you guys tune in for that on Sunday night. But I'll be uploading some videos throughout the week, guys. Thank you guys for joining in. Luis Rivera, appreciate you, man. Wolves, always appreciate you. King Sean's been one of the freaking our best guys on here. He's a Washington football fan. You Giants fans need to pick up the slack here. King Sean is out here showing you guys up out here. So that being said, guys, for the Hub and we say goodbye and farewell.